Okay. Round two. I'm just going to go for it, and hopefully you're able to see it. Let's see. I think we're. If you are on, can you give me a little like, a little something, just so I know that you hear me? If you're not on live, no worries. That's totally fine. It'll find its way there eventually, right? Okay, so I am Michelle. I'm so excited that you're here. Sorry, the glare is a little crazy. I'll take those off and let me turn that down a little bit. Okay, so we are going to get right started, right to it. I don't want to waste any of your time, but I'm so thankful that you are here. And if you're here watching, whether you're watching the replay or you're here live, would you take a minute and just drop into the chat where you're joining from? I'm in Southern California, and I want to know where you are coming from. This dashboard here is kind of like wild. So pardon me as I get used to that. So a little bit about me. I've been in the network marketing space for over a decade. I'm looking up because I have some notes here. So if it looks kind of weird, that's why. I hit the top 2% in my previous company. And then in 2 months of my pivot, I did the exact same thing. I gotten the promotions and the trips, and then I decided to start all over because, why the heck not? So I know I say all of that not to like pat myself on the back. That's not it at all. I say all of that to let you know that I know where you've been. I know where you want to go. I know where you're struggling. I know what you want to do and maybe what's keeping you from getting there. So can I give you just a little bit of a heads up? I hope so. If so, if you're like, yes, I love a heads up, then go ahead and let me know that right here. Just say, yes, I love a heads up. Raise your hand, do anything like that. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up, a little sneak peek. At the end of day one, at the end of today, I'm going to share an exclusive discount for you if you decide that you're ready to dig even deeper and you'd like to grab the Niche into Success for Network Marketers course. So stay tuned. That's coming at the end. This workshop is for you and the course is for you if you're in the network marketing direct sales space. You're tired of looking like everyone else. Can I get an amen for that? You're over the whole copy paste hustle harder movement. You're done with creating content and praying it connects with someone. If you followed me for any length of time, obviously you have, because that's why you're here. Oops, just realized my light's on. If you followed me for any length of time, then you know that I am about going against the grain. That's the whole name of the podcast, Growth Against the Grain. I want you to show up differently. I want you to show up as that unique unicorn that God has created you to be. Because you're awesome and you don't need to look like everyone else to do all of that. So, and you don't need to be connected 24/7. Like, no, we're over that, right? That was like so, I don't know. It shouldn't have been whenever it was. So this is meant to be interactive. Whenever you join in, shoot me a hi, hello, give me a love, whatever. I want to hear from you. Throw some likes and hearts. Ask questions. I know that I can't see you. I love Zoom because we can see one another. I can't see you, but I would love to get your questions, hear what you're saying, find like all that kind of stuff. Know that you're jiving with me, that it's all making sense. Say amen when the spirit is moving ya. It'll make me feel like I'm not talking to myself. And if you're doing this in the replay, no problem. Go ahead and do the same thing. Like as you're going through, like type in those yay, likes, whatever. If you're joining live, drop an emoji. If you're joining the replay, give me like a hashtag replay and drop your favorite emoji because emojis are fun, right? I'm going to remind you about this at the end, but some point throughout this session, I want you to grab your phone, take a picture, post it to your stories, and tag me in it at hey.its.michellecastro. And If you're not following me, go do it now too while you do that. So why in the world would I ask you to do that? Well, two things. One, it tells your network that you're serious about your business. Two, it shows your team that you're leading by example, even if it's a team of one. Even if it's a team of just you're showing those who are watching you, because they're watching, that you are leading by example. So in day one, we're going to go through the who, the what, the where, and the why of niching and getting specific. So drop in the chat if you are ready to niche in. So just say ready if that is you and you're like, yes, I am all over this. I absolutely want to know this. In day two, well, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, of course I'm being honest with you. Day two is the meat. It is what is going on. It's how we're going to take all of that, the who, what, where, why, and convert it to sales, right? You want to be here for that. So if you are all in, you are ready, just drop ready or your favorite emoji into the chat so that I know you are ready to go. I can't wait. So I'm going to do like a little refresh on this chat here. See, this dashboard is kind of crazy. So I hope I'm seeing everything. If I don't get to your question during the session, if I don't, see any of that, don't worry. I promise that I'm going to answer all of those things after the session is over. Okay. I don't want to waste a minute of your time, so let's get started. I know you're ready. So number one, who is your dream client? And why does this even matter? So we hear these words flying around all over the place, right? You need to know who your ideal client is. It's often referred to as your ideal client avatar, ICA, or your dream client. I like dream client. It's that person who you love working with. She gets what you're doing, and it's an absolute dream to work with her or him. It's not like you have to convince them to buy your stuff or to join your team. Like, you're like, this is easy. I like that. So you have two choices when it comes to understanding your dream client. And if you're, well, I'll ask you this in a second. Number one, you can hit up everyone you know. Or you can make meaningful connections with someone who requires little to no convincing about your product or your business opportunity. So drop a 1 or a 2. 1, hit up everyone you know, or 2, make meaningful connections with someone who requires little to no convincing. Who do you want to spend more time with? Like, where do you want to spend the time? I mean, it's fantastic that grandma and your mom want to support you, but the reality is you really want to make those meaningful connections because grandma, mom, sister, aunt, friends, all that kind of stuff, they're probably going to order from you, hopefully. But yes, Patty 2, number 2, definitely you want to make those meaningful connections because, well, it's just easier and it's going to last so much longer, right? So I totally agree. So who is your dream client and how in the world do you figure that out? You're like, well, that's why I'm here, Michelle. Okay, so I have a little hint. And if you've listened to the podcast at all, you've probably heard me say this a few times. So who your dream client is, friend, it's you. It's you. A day, a week, a month, maybe even a year ago. It's you just a step ahead of where she is. So we're going to have a little bit of homework. I promise it's not going to take you very long, but it's going to be super imperative to really understanding who this person is. So I want you to grab a piece of paper, open up your notes app, whatever it is that works best for you. And I want you to jot a few things down about yourself. So think of your demographics, like your age, your likes, your dislikes. Are you married? Do you have kids? Are you a male? Are you a female? All of those things. Like, what are your favorites? Do you like coffee? Do you like tea? Write all of those things down, getting as super specific as possible. So for myself, I'm 48. I like coffee. I don't have a ton of dislikes. Sushi. I don't like sushi. I'm married, been married for 24 years. We have 3 daughters. Favorites are the beach and going to Disneyland and a good avocado toast and all of those things. So write those things down. So I want you then to take that and we're going to convert it to, who your dream client is. So she's likely around your same age. It doesn't necessarily mean that she's exactly your same age, but she's likely around your same age. She likely has similar likes and dislikes, and she probably has kids if you do. And why is that even important? And I'm probably getting ahead of myself. But if I'm 48, as much as I think that I can totally hang with my kids in the way that they talk and their, conversations, the way that I talk with my girlfriends and the way that my daughters talk with their girlfriends is very different. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of time with your kids to realize like, oh, we talk differently. And it sounds very unnatural when I come around and say, oh yeah, you're looking totally swag. Like, that's not me. That's not how I talk. That's how my daughter's friends talk. I do it because it's fun to embarrass them. That's a whole other workshop. But because you are going to speak the same language, they're going to understand you better. Does that mean that I'm not going to be able to connect with somebody who's in their 20s? Not at all. It just means that I'm super specific and clear who I'm talking to. So I want you to get specific about some of your favorites. Like I said, coffee, tea. Do you like books over movies? Or do you listen to Audible? Are you an Amazon Prime mama? Yes, that's me. Or are you a Pinterest mama? Oh man, I so wish I were. Anyone else like that? Are you a morning person? Are you a night person? Are you organic, paleo? Do you run on fast food? Like, what is that really gets you going? Like, who are you? And sometimes if you're like me, all of a sudden you realize, do I really even know who I am? Like, I start asking these questions and kind of figuring things out. Do a little Google search of like favorites. What are people's favorites? And just so you can kind of get an idea of like some things, ask a poll. What are your favorites? Or, what's an unpopular opinion you have? Or, I don't know, get creative with those things to create some sort of engagement. So get specific in the comments if you are all about understanding who this person is and getting super specific. So the second component of who your dream client is understanding what your product offers. We go into great detail on this in Module 1 in the Niche into Success course. In fact, I have I can't remember the name of it, a worksheet that really just helps you narrow that down and put it then into language and wording that is going to relate to your dream client. So number 2 is, and this is like a massive broad brush strokes over niching in compared to the course. So if you're like, oh my goodness, this is what my appetite, I want to get even deeper. That's definitely where you're going to want to go. Okay. So number 2, what does your dream client want? So you know who your dream client is, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the very beginning. It'll move you so much further than not knowing who it is. For years, I just thought, well, like I sell skincare, so it works for everybody. Everybody has skin, everybody needs it. While that is theoretically true, it's not hitting everybody because you end up trying to talk to everybody, and in the meantime, you end up talking to no one. So you can stop here at who, but honestly, you'll be doing yourself a massive disservice. Understanding who is just step 1. So I know you want to post, make it pretty, and sit back and just count the comments, right? And that would be so awesome. But I hate to be the one to break it to you. It doesn't work that way. So, I mean, it would be really nice, right? You post and 1,000 people, even 10 people are like, yes, tell me more about that. I want to know. But we need to get a little bit deeper. So I want you to drop what into the comments if you're ready to figure out what your dream client wants. So drop what in there if you're like, yes, please. I want to know what it is that they want. What is she looking for? And for me, when I'm talking about dream client, I'm always going to be talking about a female. It doesn't mean that men don't come to me and ask me for products or about the business, but it just means that I understand her mind so much better. And that's where I want to focus my energy. When I say be specific, I mean be specific. You might have multiple dream clients, you might have multiple ICAs, but I would really encourage you to spend time, especially right now, on one. Get super specific about this one. So there's a very important distinction between the needs, an important distinction that needs to be made. What the product is versus what the product does. So I was just talking to somebody on Instagram the other day. Side note, if you start following me, I'm going to start a conversation with you. That's just how it goes. So if you haven't followed me yet, do it. And sometimes I miss you. So if I haven't started a conversation with you, that's why. Shoot me a message. Say, hey, you said you were going to start a conversation with me. And my question I always love to ask is, like, what are you struggling with and what are you succeeding in? I want to know, because I want to help you. I want to help you get stronger. I just want to learn too. It's market research. So all that to say, I was talking with somebody the other day and she was saying she was struggling with the conversion, like converting to sales. And it's this right here. Talking about what the product is versus what the product does. She happened to be somebody who came from real estate. And I said, oh my gosh, that's awesome, because when you are in real estate, if you pull up, if you know somebody who's in real estate, they're talking about the features of the listing, right? They're telling you that it's 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms and it's a 10,000 square foot lot and it's a 2,000 square foot home and there's a pool. They're showing you all of those features. But somehow we come into network marketing and we're like, this is awesome. It has nootropics and you need it. And everyone's like, well, 1, what the heck is a nootropic? And 2, why do I need it? Like, I really don't understand that. So that's the difference. What the product is versus what the product does. This has nootropics. That's great. But what it does is it helps with brain and it enhances your brain connectivity. It really helps you to focus. It helps give you more energy, so on and so forth. It's kind of like saying, I have a house, it's blue, versus this house, 2,000 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, all the things. You're like, oh, well, we're looking for a 3-bedroom home. That's perfect. That fits our needs. Or no, that's not what we're talking about. So I want to keep it simple. I want you to think about one product or a bundle, but something, not your entire product catalog, not quite yet. So I want you to drop in the comments, what is like a single product that you have in mind? You don't even need to name like the exact name of it. It can be, a serum. It can be, fat inhibitor. You could say it's an oil that helps with whatever. So put something in the comments so we know, what it is that you're going to focus on. And then you're going to do the same thing on a piece of paper. So we had the piece of paper talking about the who, you're putting all those things down, who you are, getting all of that super specific. And then now on your piece of paper, turn it over, go down to the bottom. I want you to think about this product. Okay. So the product that you just thought of. So remember, if you're your dream client, a few steps ahead, then you need to tap into what we call your regressive mindset. And remember what it was that drew you to your product or your business in the first place. So we tend to have this disconnect. We've joined and now it totally makes sense to us. And we want everyone to join us at the point where we are on the path. And we forget that they're starting at the beginning. Hey, Jenny, glad you joined us. They're starting at the very beginning. So we need to go back to where they're at. So case in point, when I was writing the course, I wanted you to all plop in right where I was. I've been working on this for over a year, and I was like, oh, everyone should know this. And as I was working with my coach, she's like, no. We need to back way up. We need to start from the very beginning. Same thing with your product. At this point, you know your product, right? You understand it, but she doesn't. So I want you to think about what it was that drew you to your product. Were you experiencing dry skin? Do you have asthma and somebody told you that this oil is really great for inflammation in your lungs and helping you to breathe better? Do you have trouble focusing in the afternoon and you heard about this product that has energy enhancing nootropics that help with your brain activity to keep you focused? So thinking back to all of those things, like what was it? And you don't have to have like a massive story. It doesn't have to be I was 300 pounds overweight and I wanted to lose weight. It could be I just wanted to be healthier. I just wanted to feel better from the inside out, right? So I want you to think about that. So you're going to tap into that regressive mindset. So here's a pro tip. I want you to focus on the intrinsic values, making an emotional connection. Think about emotional words, feeling words. Put emotion in the comments if that is making sense to you. If you are like, yes, I want to connect on an emotional level, drop emotion into the comments, or like give me like an emotional like emoji. Show me some, that you're following along and this all makes sense. As I said at the beginning, if you're just joining in or you're listening to the replay, this is interactive. I want to hear from you. Drop some likes and emojis and all kinds of stuff as the spirit is moving you and you're like, amen, sister, this all makes sense. So what did you want? Think of that one product. So you have that one product in mind. What did you want? So for myself, I wanted to feel better from the inside out. But honestly, I just wanted my clothes to fit better. I wanted to stop with the extra fluff around the middle. If you're in your 40s plus, you get what I'm talking about. What were your needs? What were your wants? And what were your desires that drew you to that specific product? What were your frustrations? What were your frustrations? Me, I was frustrated that my clothes weren't fitting. I was frustrated that I was trying everything, literally eating as clean as I could. I tried going, pretty plant-based. I tried all these things and nothing was working. How were you feeling? At that moment, I was feeling pretty crummy. I didn't like it. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I actually felt. And I didn't like how I felt on the outside. I would look at myself and be like, I don't know. Even though everyone around me was saying I was crazy, which they're probably not wrong. Okay, so let me ask you this. So go back and think about those things. Write those questions down. What did you want? What were your feelings? What were your needs, wants, and desires? What were your frustrations and how were you feeling? Ask yourself those questions when it comes to that particular product. So let me ask you this. Let's go a little bit further. What were you Googling? So for me, and what drew me to the company and the products that I'm currently with, I was literally Googling these things. I'd lay in bed at night and I'd be like, how do I speed up my metabolism? What happens during menopause? And why in the world can I not lose weight? Those are actual things that I was Googling and looking up. Well, those go straight to my frustrations, my needs, wants, and desires, how I was feeling. So what is it that you were Googling that led you to the products and company that you're with? So when I heard of a product that addressed my metabolism and was proven to shrink my fat cells, I was like, I'm all in. Tell me all about that. Same thing for you. You could, and maybe it's not even a product that drew you in at first, and that's okay. Maybe it was the business. What drew you to the business? Why were you frustrated? What were you Googling? Were you Googling how to work from home, or work at home jobs, or something along those lines? What were you Googling and why were you looking those things up? So when I saw before and after pictures and heard testimonies, and about how much better someone was feeling, how their bloat was gone, all the things, the extra fluff, I was sold. And the reason I was sold, the reason I tell you all of that is because it hit me on an emotional level. She was speaking to me. She was talking about how she felt, how I was feeling, and what changed and what she did to do that. So here's a pro tip. Your dream client is thinking, what's in it for me? That's what she's thinking. Drop WIIFM if you're like, oh my goodness, yes, I totally get that. What's in it for me? WIIFM. So what that means is, in like the bluntest possible way, we're selfish people. Like we are. I mean, we're happy for other people. I see before and after pictures of somebody, or I hear that about their success. I'm totally happy for them. But the truth of the matter is, I want to know, how is it going to help me? And that's exactly what your dream client is thinking. She wants to know, what's in it for me? Okay, that's great, Michelle. This gives you more energy and this helps you focus more. And okay, but what's it going to do for me? It's a simple switch. You're going to feel more energized. You're going to feel, less tired in the afternoon. You're not going to have that afternoon slump. It's that little switch of the word you. That one's for free. I just gave you that little tip for free. So think back to that product you put in the comments or you wrote down. And I want you to write down on your paper what's in it for your dream client. How will it make her feel? In Niche into Success for network marketers. That's a tongue twister, isn't it? I give you a worksheet. I was mentioning it before, and I think it's called Tap into Emotions. That's what it is. The Tap into Emotions worksheet. I know, super creative, right? But that's what it does. It helps you to tap into emotions, where I show you exactly how to take your product and see what it does and transfer those into emotional things, making it something that's tangible that she wants. So it walks you through that, finding the benefits, because what's really great is you have this company that probably has a website and it talks about all of those benefits and it's awesome. But again, your dream client, she wants to know what's in it for her. So talking about how we can switch that, so you take those benefits and you flip them in a way to really just hit her emotions and help her to understand how it's going to help her. Okay, so we've talked about who, we've talked about what. Number 3, this is it. Why is this important? I know. You're like, yeah, tell me why. Why is this important, right? Type in there, why is this important? Question mark. I'm going to wait. I want you to type that in there because I want to make sure that you're following along here. Why is this important? And while you're typing that, I'm going to tell you one last thing is where, which I'm just touching on briefly. Where is your dream client hanging out? I don't say that by any means to go stalk them. It's just a way of getting that full picture of who this person is. You want to know what her interests are, what she enjoys, and where she likes to be. Is she a beach mama? Is she a mall mama? Those conversations are different. Okay, so why? Here we go. In short, and I've said this many times in the podcast, on my posts, like all kinds of things, it comes down to trust. Trust. That's what it comes down to. Absolutely. It's like that picture book. If y'all have young kids or did at one time, you've read the book. If you give Once she feels seen and heard, that's understanding who she is, what her pain points are, what she's struggling with, why she needs what you have. Once she sees that you get it, she feels seen and heard, then she's going to trust you. And friend, when she trusts you, she's going to buy your products or she's going to join your team. You didn't join somebody you didn't trust, right? Yeah, think about it. Think about who you joined with. Or if you did, then maybe if you're frustrated in your business, maybe that's why. I don't know. So think about that. If once she feels seen and heard, then she's going to trust you. And once she trusts you, then she's going to buy or join you. The key here is understanding how to move through those trust zones, which are things that we talk about in module 4 in Niche into Success. We want to move from no connect, like you don't know this person at all, to complete trust, right? And too often what happens is we ask too much of somebody that we don't know enough about. So it's the hey girl messages. We've all done it. Once you understand that they're slimy and terrible, then you stop. Okay? Before, if you were doing them, you didn't know better. You just did it. So now I'm telling you now, no more hey girl messages. But we talk about taking somebody from trust zone 1, which is someone that we don't even know. We have zero connection with, but you can see there's something about her that is your dream client. She checks all the boxes. And moving them through the trust zones to trust zone 4, prime, hot market. So drop trust in the comments if you're all about building a successful and sustainable business built upon trust. I know y'all are. So I'm going to see that after the fact and everything. I want to see trust in there. It takes time. I think in my experience, one of the downfalls and plagues, if you will, in the network marketing direct sales space is this 0 to 60 relationship that we want so quickly, when the reality is it takes time. It's about building a relationship, and you need to be willing to build a relationship without ever mentioning your products or business. I'm going to say that again because I think it is so incredibly important. You need to be willing to build a relationship without ever mentioning your products or business. If you're starting a conversation and you're doing what you need to be doing in promoting your company and your brand in social media, then she's going to see all of that and it's going to come. But she needs to first know that you are there for her. You started this conversation to build a relationship. So if you're truly interested in them, then you need to be willing to take your time. Does that mean it's going to take a day, a week, a month? I don't know. But you have to be willing to take your time. So like I said, we've all gotten that dreaded hey girl message. And I know you're cringing thinking about them. And we've done it. It's okay. It's okay. We're going to move on. We're not going to do that anymore, right? In the course, I show you some actual examples of hey girl messages that I have just gotten in the last few months. It's pretty eye-opening. But we're not going to do that anymore. I'm showing you how to move your prospect through those trust zones. So if you're truly interested in growing and building a successful business, then friend, doing this one thing will make the biggest difference. So are you ready? I'm going to say this and you're going to be like the mind blown emoji, right? So as I say it, go ahead and throw that little emoji. He's kind of my favorite right now, that and of course the laughy cry one. Okay, so you ready? I'm going to tell you this one thing that is really going to transform the way that you communicate with your prospective dream client, ideal client avatar. Ready for it? I want you to pretend that this screen here, this little screen here, does not exist between you and your prospect. I want you to pretend it doesn't exist at all. I want you to pretend, imagine that you're walking down the aisle of Target or the market and you run into your dream client. All of a sudden, when we're face to face, the conversation changes a little bit, right? That's how I want you to talk to them. If I were walking through the market and I saw this woman, which I did, with these adorable white jeans, they were like fringed on the bottom. She was like in her 60s. She was like super cute, adorable. If I walked up to her and I was like, hey girl, you should try our products. I started with this company and blah, blah. No, that's weird, right? Well, it's equally as weird when we do that in the DMs or in messages and anywhere else. It's not cool. So I know. Are you like, oh my goodness, that's awesome. We did a podcast episode on that, so hopefully you're not like, wait, this is something new. And if it is, that's cool. It's so awesome. So I want you to pretend that there is not that screen. Somehow that screen gives us like magical confidence powers, right? So what are you going to say? What are you going to say when you run into this person? How are you going to talk to her? You're going to be like, hi, I like your jeans. Those are really cute. Did you just get them? Because that's a normal conversation, right? My kids laugh at me because I start conversations with people all the time, wherever I am. I mean, they're genuine. Like if I see somebody who's wearing cute jeans or someone who has a pair of shoes that I really like or a top or whatever, I'm like, hey, oh my goodness, I love your top. Where did you get that? And my kids are like, oh my gosh. Like I'm not like, we're not going to go have coffee right now. I mean, maybe at some point, but I just genuinely enjoy paying compliments because what happens is you see their face light up. Oh, I love your hair. It looks so cool. Like whatever, make it a genuine compliment and move on. You made her day. I mean, who doesn't like that, right? Or you walk by somebody who has a little girl in her cart. I'm always drawn to little girls because I got 3 girls. You know, say something like, oh my goodness, your daughter is so cute. She reminds me of when mine was that age. Ah, I love it. Love the cheeks. Yeah, I don't know, but like, don't be creepy, but just pretend that screen is not in front of you. Same thing when you're starting messages. You see somebody who ticks the boxes, have a normal conversation. Look at her posts and comment on there something other than, that's awesome. Like something with meaning. Ask a question. The person who asks the most question is the person who's in charge of or in control of the conversation. Ask the questions. Okay, so you want to be a unicorn, right? You want to be that unicorn that does things different. We're almost done, I promise. So the way to do that, I lost my place. Hold on. The way to do that is to stand out from the crowd, to be different, to do things differently, right? And this is a great way to do that. So I would challenge you, I didn't even put this in my notes, I would challenge you to start 3 conversations with people that you don't have a current relationship with. One tip that I love to do, go through people who are following you. So your followers, right? In Instagram, they already know who you are. Go to their stories, find people who have a story and go and start a conversation with them related to the story that they have there. See what happens. See where it goes. Okay, so we've talked about who your dream client is, what she wants, and why this is important. Tomorrow, we are going to take all of this, tie a bow around it, and we're going to talk about how and when to convert to the sale. Who is here for converting to the sale or joining you in business? It's the same thing. It's all about trust. So if you are here for that, drop here in the comments or give me like the amen emojis. I want to see it all. So if this is what you've been looking for, if you're like many of my students and clients I work with who say, I knew the who, like you knew the who, you had an idea, it was a woman, she was this age, blah, 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 but really didn't understand why that was important or know how much deeper you needed to go, then friend, you are definitely going to love the Niche into Success course. It is designed just for you to get super specific. The last, 30-ish minutes has really just been massive, broad brushstrokes over niching into success. It's just giving you like the tip of the iceberg, whet your appetite on this. The course takes you 10 feet deeper. We get super specific. And I told you at the very beginning that I had an exclusive offer just for you. So I don't want you to have to wait until tomorrow, because if you're like, yeah, I'm so here for it. I like what I've heard today. I want to go even deeper. So here it is. But before I do that, I want to remind you, take a picture. Take a picture, post it to your stories, tag me at hey.its.michellecastro, because it's telling your network that you are serious about growing your business. And 2, it shows your team that you're leading by example, even if it's just you. Even if you are just the team, it's okay. It's showing those prospective people that you are absolutely serious. Okay, So here's my exclusive offer. Through Sunday, you can save 10% with the code NIS10 at checkout. So go to bit.ly/niche into success. I'll put all of this in the notes, in the whatever at the top. Go to bit.ly/niche into success and enter NIS10 at the checkout for the 10%. It'll be taken right off right away. Either way, whether you choose to pay in full or do the 3 options. Okay, so did you take your picture? If not, do it now, or you can do it when the replay comes up, when it's posted to the page. Take a picture and tag me, put it in your stories, tag some of your business partners or those people that you're working with who are really all about showing up differently, and they want to know how in the world do they do that? What is a practical way to do that? Okay, so here is your homework in addition to posting your picture and stories. I want you to continue outlining and describing who you are. Talking about those demographics, like who are you? What are your likes, your dislikes, your favorites? You know, where would you, if you had a day, where would you spend your day? Like going through all of that and then turning it into who your dream client is. Outline who she is. And I'm just going to give you a hint. You cannot get too specific. Okay. But thinking about like why does she like these things? Think through those things and then ask yourself, what does she want? What is she frustrated with? What is she struggling with? Why is she frustrated with that? Like, think through all of those things, those questions that we asked earlier, and really outline that. Like, what is it? Think of that product, that one product. What drew you to that product? And then go through all of that. Like, how does it make you feel when you use that, when you have that? Like, how, think through all of those intrinsic values. And then number 3, why is this important? Why is your product important? Why is knowing this important? Why is your company important? Like what they have to offer, all of those things. I cannot wait. Post it here. Throw it up in the comments. I want to check it out and see what you have come up. The other thing I'd love to do is give her a name. You know, my dream client, her name is Julie. Come up with any name. The reason I gave her Julie is because my dream client is me. And before I was born, my parents were going to name me Julie. So I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. It could just be a name that you like. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, like with a meaning behind it, whatever. You come up with a fun name for her. It just helps it to be more real. Okay, friend, I love you. Thank you for hanging around, and I will see you tomorrow. If you have questions as you're going through this, drop them here in the comments, and I promise I will look at them. Talk to you soon.